So this is a video I've been wanting to make for quite some time. I wanted to approach it from a place of sincerity, research, and by actually talking to other women riders. Shout out to Rossi Gabrielle, by the way, who took the time out of her night to chat with me about bikes and women riders and really helped color this video. Go check out her channel. She makes sick ADV videos, travels all over the world. She's pretty much a certified badass. After you watch your Sweet Papa Noob's video, of course. I don't think it's any surprise that motorcycling is a hobby dominated by men. My analytics on YouTube tells me that 97% of my audience is male.
Ay, caramba!
97%, let that sink in. It means that a tiny fraction of all my viewers are women. Maybe it's why I feel like I can produce content for myself in this boys club and it seems to work. But on the flip side, I get about a couple million views a month, and that's, thousands of women who do check out my channel, which is cool to think. Were I in any other niche, I would have likely fallen flat on my face. What surprises me most, however, is that my statistics are actually pretty skewed, which may suggest that women don't seek out or consume motorcycle content on YouTube because in reality, 14% of all motorcyclists were women in 2014, according to a recent report. This is up from 8% in 1998, which means that the proportion of female riders has nearly doubled in 20 years. This is a good thing. A very good thing.
Excellent.
The manic pleasures of motorcycle ownership shouldn't be limited to one half of the human population. It should be open and acceptable to all who want to partake in this particular flavor of insanity. Let's look at a few of the defining characteristics of these moto ladies. These figures were sourced from a report from the Motorcycle Industry Council. Now, what style do female motorcyclists ride? 34% of them choose cruisers, likely due to the lower seat height and friendlier nature than high-powered sport bikes. Scooters were a close second, however, at 33%, and then only 10% of them chose sport bikes. Now, I'm partial to sky-high RPM limits and stupidly uncomfortable ergonomics myself, so I'm a little biased in thinking that those are rookie sport bike numbers. We gotta get more ladies popping dank woolies. That's not a hard requirement by any means, but let's get those numbers up.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
What about demographic characteristics? The median age of motorcycle owning women is about 39 years old versus 48 for men. Older than I expected for both categories, to be honest. Half of those women perform maintenance on their own bikes, which is probably one of the raddest statistics I've seen in a minute. About half of those women are married as well, and I can almost guarantee most of their husbands ride too. I'd be shocked at a couple where the wife rides and the husband doesn't. 47% of them have a college or postgraduate degree, and best of all, women are more safety conscious than men, with 60% of them taking a safety course versus 42%. Now that's specific to the United States, where we are not legally obligated to take the motorcycle safety course in some states. One thing I want to make clear is that it's not to say we need to achieve parity in motorcycling for the world to be a great place. It might be that the natural split of men and women riders is 70-30 or 60-40, but I think we can all agree that the current 86-14 split is a little skewed. We can do better by making this hobby more inclusive. Now, let's try to understand why there's not many female riders in the first place. This can be explained through a lot of different lenses, however, I'm going to offer my take on it. I think the reason that there's not many female riders is due to one big single factor. It's societal pressures. And no, not in that sort of cringeworthy, we live in a society type of thing.
Don't talk like one of them, you're not.
But rather, I think female motorcycle ownership and riding has been a feedback loop for a while, where boys would get access to motorcycles and females would be told that it's a manly thing to do, so they couldn't join in. I think that still informs a lot of the hesitation women might have when it comes to riding. The judgment and disapproval of their peers is a powerful thing. No one wants to feel like they're behaving in a way that no one approves. And if they say that they totally don't care what anyone thinks, they're lying. Humans are literally programmed to seek approval from others. Riding a bike is still seen as a pretty tomboy thing to do, which in 2018, aka current year, doesn't matter as much, but gender norms and perceived sexuality is still important to a vast majority of folks. Much like a man taking ballet, a woman riding a motorcycle can be perceived by some people as a non-gender conforming thing to do, which is a shame that we consider riding a two-wheeled vehicle and having a fun time to be a traditionally masculine thing to do. I think that's really silly. Another issue is that we don't create spaces that are as inclusive as they could be for female riders. I think this is both online and in real life. A good example is the local meetup. I think the local meetup is one of those places that exists as people to come out and kind of enjoy motorcycles. It's the sort of first point of contact you get as part of your local community and riding in general. It's pretty intimidating for a woman to show up to a group of like 12 or 15 biker bros and feel welcome. To their credit though, I've seen ladies showing up for group rides with their husbands, boyfriends, or girlfriends. It's typically a good time. But we male riders do small things to make motorcycling just that little bit less inclusive than it could be. For example, in online spaces, and I see this in my videos all the time, guys tend to jump all over any comment from a seemingly female rider, which is hilarious considering that anyone could be anybody on the internet. I could be a sentient dog for all you know. Wouldn't that be something? And when I say jump all over, that could be to explain something to them, or to seem knowledgeable, or just to do the standard thirsty thing that guys normally do for any girl who joins our hobby. Rossi, the rider I mentioned earlier who helped me out with some of this research for this video, mentioned that phenomenon, how she's often seen as helpless, but that's mainly because she travels in some pretty far away places like the Middle East or Africa, or how people will assume that she doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to bikes. Which is a shame because she's likely put down more miles than most of the fools trying to correct her or tell her that she needs to learn how to ride. Another thing male riders take completely for granted is our choice of gear. There's another one of these sort of feedback loops because gear makers know that there's a limited population of female riders, so they don't invest time and energy in female specific gear. However, it's kind of ridiculous that most female motorcycle gear is either black or pink or both. Why is everything pink? It's almost as if only dudes are designing these pieces of gear. Why can't there be a sick-ass Dainese textile like the one I've got, but just in a female cut? We've got all manner of shapes and sizes for male gear, why not for ladies? An unfortunate explanation for that, I think, is the same feedback effect I mentioned. Manufacturers know that the audience for that product will be small, and so R&D, marketing, and production dollars usually go to the male side of things. I think another really interesting topic is thinking about the sexualization of women in motorcycles. I know that this is kind of popular in all genres of hobbies and just content in general online, and that women feel like they need to kind of sex it up in order for them to sell themselves. But I think sometimes they do themselves a disservice by putting themselves out there in a more sexual way just to attract views and more attention, because it kind of devalues the perception that people have of how serious they are about their hobby. And that's not to say that a woman can't be pretty or beautiful and enjoy the hobby and put herself out there in the world like that, but I think for a lot of people, when they see a very pretty girl doing something that they're into, I think they immediately discount it, which is really unfortunate. So what can we do, boys? And I'm speaking to the guys watching my videos, the 97% of you. Well, we can start by not being super surprised when a girl tells us that she rides. I know I'm guilty of this. It almost always catches me off guard. We can also operate under the assumption that she knows what she's talking about. Let's make sure we don't mansplain, for lack of a better term, motorcycling to females. I see it in my comments all the time, guys jumping in explaining things to girls that didn't even ask questions. Let's not do that anymore. Basically, let's just pretend we're chatting with other bros like we always do, like we chat with female riders. We shouldn't treat them any different based on gender. They're taking the risk of jumping on two wheels like the rest of us, so that deserves respect, particularly because there's a big social stigma for women riders, so I think it takes more bravery and commitment as a woman to ride a bike than as a guy. I think the other thing we can do is let's get our daughters, wives, girlfriends, sisters, etc. on the backs of bikes at an early age. Let's give them dirt bikes, let's get them twisting throttles. Some studies suggest that the earlier we expose people to motorcycles, the more likely they are to join the hobby later in life. Because at the end of the day, more people riding more bikes is a good thing, no matter how you slice it. Whether that's more guys, more girls, or both. If we have more folks on motorcycles raising awareness to our hobby, promoting it positively, and showing that it's not limited to a small slice of the population, that's only going to help our case when the time comes to lobby for laws or regulation or otherwise more friendly atmospheres for motorcycles.
Exactly.
So let's share the road, because bikes are awesome, and I want more people riding them. So what do you guys think about ladies in the motorcycling world? Are you a female rider? The 3% who watches my videos? I would love if you left a comment below and let me know if you are. I'm not gonna lie, I must have written and rewritten this script about 5 times to make sure I didn't sound like a sexist asshole, but hopefully this was a positive and interesting message that I got across. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and be sure to subscribe. I'm putting out 2 videos a week now, which includes these video essays and an episode per week of the beginner bike build series that I'm doing, where you could win a free motorcycle. Details in the description below. Thanks, and I'll catch you guys next time.